into the field. Like, what is that? Then I see him fall, and he's screaming, bro. Screaming, cussing, and screaming. And his femoral artery was hit, snapped up into his body, and he took 2 rounds to it. And I remember the ravine, the water we were in, like turning different color, dark, brown, and it tasted like pennies.
Welcome to Vivid Bits. Today we are counting down the top 5 craziest combat stories from the Shawn Ryan Show. All the way from Delta operators to Navy SEALs, here are some must-see stories that will have you on the edge of your seat. All credits goes to Shawn Ryan and the Shawn Ryan Show. All the links to the full interviews will be linked in the description below. Now let's get right into the video. Coming in at number 5, Christian Craighead's crazy 3-man mission in Iraq.
Let's rewind. Let's go back to 2003. So you deployed for the invasion, the Iraq invasion in 2003 as a Pathfinder.
Yeah.
How many people were you deploying with?
In my team, it was a 6-man team.
That's it?
Yeah, 6-man. And a 6-man like reconnaissance team. When we deployed across the border, my patrol wasn't employed, so we drove over in the cut down Land Rovers across with the main force, and then we waited for a mission. I was held in very high regard by the officer commanding of Pathfinders, and he was saying, I'm not going to employ you yet, waiting for the right job for you, which was frustrating for me and frustrating for my team. And but then I got a job, and it was good.
What was it?
It was good. It was a close target reconnaissance of an Iraqi armoured division. So it meant getting close to the Iraqi armoured division on foot, going in and getting as close as you can, trying to work out numbers, routine, and also look at there was a MSR, like a road behind the armoured division. There's also a secondary mission was to check the quality of the road and what condition it was in, and that kind of vibe and general atmospherics of the area.
So Pathfinders is a reconnaissance element.
Yeah.
Is there a sniper element as well?
The snipers in every team. There's a sniper in every team. So for this mission, it was like there's 4,000 Iraqi troops in this armored division. 4,000.
You guys are,
and it's me
conducting surveillance.
6-man team, no air support.
Whoa.
And it's I was a JTAC at the time. I was the team leader, and I carried the radio in case if we needed air support, we'd do a 9-line, and but it wasn't overhead. It would be chalked to us if we needed it. And I had to think about this. I'm going to say this to everyone. It's a true story, and doesn't mean everything I say is bullshit. But it was a good mission, and the OC actually said to me, "You don't have to do this." Because there's a high, we kind of worked. They said that you're going to come into contact with the enemy. It's high risk. You don't have to do it, but if you want it, you can do it. And I was like, of course I'm going to do it. There's So I then came up with the plan, and because of the,
did you say, "Am I going to get paid more"?
Yeah.
No.
What?
There's a high chance of dying.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it was.
I'm in.
Yeah. But so how I'm doing this is we're going to use another patrol to we'll call a sponsor patrol. So we drove to like a release point, and so we got given this operations box around this armored division, and you had 3 3rd Battalion, the parachute. Their sniper team was looking at the bottom bit, and then the armored reconnaissance was looking into the top bit, and then my team was going to go into the actual hornet's nest. The sponsor patrol, so all in all, it'd be 2 vehicles from my team and 2 vehicles from the sponsor patrol would go to a release point, and then I would leave my vehicles behind and then go in on foot. So the sponsor and because of noise, I didn't want to take 6 people there, so I said I'm going to go with 3 people, me and 2 others. So we then work out who's going to do it. So I go in, I've got the Army SU SA-80 rifle with a 40 Mike grenade launcher underneath. I've got the radio for the aircraft. I then take Paddy, who was actually my second in command. Brilliant sniper. He's going in with a sniper rifle. And the reason for that is when we get to a point where we're going to approach in on foot, Paddy would then set up with his sniper rifle, give overwatch, whilst me and a guy called Larry would then go in, 2 of us, towards the armoured vehicles and try and scope it out. So less people, less movement, less noise. And Larry, who's ended up into the SES as well, brilliant soldier, brilliant mindset. He had the M249, the Minimi, and so we had we had hand grenades and Browning high power pistols. So we're taking as much firepower as we can for 3 men. So on the first night we have a bit of an incident. One of the vehicles rolls, and the second in command of Pathfinders, an officer, gets badly injured, and so that's the mission gets scrubbed that night. Next night, just reset and do it again. This time everything goes well. We get to the release point, and then the 3 of us set off on foot into this armoured division. The going from the release point towards it is terrible. There's like mounds of mud, mud mounds, and it was so bad going. So I should add as well, for that night we blacked out all our faces, not like camouflage cream, not blackface. So we're just like, and my theory was, because I'd heard it from an experienced SES guy years earlier, who taught me a lot, was that if you come face to face with the enemy, it gives you like a good edge, having camouflage cream on, and we sort of knew we were going to come into contact with the enemy, and like before we left, we stripped down our weapons, cleaned the magazines, everything, because it was like a given. People were very envious that we were going to do it because we knew. So we set off on foot, and the going is so bad, like really bad. So I again have to make a command decision, but I'm going to run it through these 2 guys who I hold in the highest regard. So I'm going to look, if we continue to go on this course, we're not going to get there in time, and worst case we'll be trapped in the daylight in the open. I said, so what I suggest is we get onto this track. You know the rules, we don't walk on tracks, but we get on this track, move down the track at pace up until there was a set of power lines crossing it. I said that we'll use that power lines as a mark, and then get off the track and then move towards the armoured division. You're happy with that? Because it's moving on track, and I know, but I think it's the best idea. And they're like, absolutely, it's the best call. So get on the track. I'm number 1. Larry with the Minimise is number 2, and Paddy at the back with the sniper rifle. And then we're moving down the track. As we're approaching, there's on the right hand side of this track, there's a berm about 6 feet high, all the way down, as you see in the Middle East a lot. And moving down the track, and I see the power lines, and just as about to break off the power lines to go off us, my day sack with my packing's aching my arms, and I stop to adjust it. And as I stop, I hear whispering to my right hand side. I'm like, so I hear whispering to my right hand side. I'm like, in Arabic. So I slowly like, turn, and I'm like that. And we had night vision goggles on, like to the 2 other guys. I'm like that, like thumbs down, like enemy, like there. And then Larry's like stops, pausing, like silently swings straight away to cover. And the distance is we're about 8 yards apart.
That's it.
From each of the 3 of us. So there's like 8 yards to me, Larry, and then about 8 yards back to Paddy. But the berm is about from me to you away, and the whispering's on the other side of it. So I'm like, and I'm like to Larry and Paddy, and they slowly walk up. And then as he gets, I'm like, there's whispering off the other side of the berm, like, because it's this thing on the message was like, you can't engage the enemy unless you're getting engaged, or like thing. And I'm like, and then all of a sudden, I don't know if it's because the movement, the whispering, someone stands up behind the berm. Instantly, I reach up, lean up, and take a shot. One shot, and my weapon jams. Then I go into trance state. I don't freeze out. I'm like, boom. He goes down, but my weapon stopped. Don't know why. I just run like straight down to my outboard pocket, pull out a high explosive grenade, run over the berm. Sorry, I'm missing a bit out. Before as they close up, I then silently go to the berm and look over the top with my night vision goggles on, and I can see around about 8 to 12 Iraqi soldiers all in a huddle talking to each other and stuff. So I think where the power lines was, it was like they were using that as like we were, as a marker, and it was like a standing patrol or a sentry position. Then I closed down, and then I say 8 to 12 Iraqi army soldiers behind the berm. And I don't know if it's because they heard the movement or they heard my voice start. And then guy stands up, take the shot, he goes down.
So you killed him?
I don't know. I don't know if I hit him. Well, I probably hit him, but I don't know if I killed him. It was one shot with,
gotcha.
With NATO ammo. But he goes down. I then run up with the high explosive grenade and throw it down into all the Iraqis. That detonates, and there's a bit of a scream, and there's still threat to life, and they're all there. And I run and I pull out my Brown power pistol, and I shoot 5 of them. So it's like a chaos drill. And onto my left-hand side, Larry's there. He's making music with his M249. He's dealing with threats, and then Paddy with a sniper rifle. He's then throwing hand grenades to potential depth position.
Wow.
And so this is my first experience of using lethal force, and there's a lot of takeaway points from this. So then I'm like, okay, let's go, and I'm like, let's go. I quickly clear that stoppage. What I think had happened is the cocking handle on a SA moves back and forth, and when I fired that first round, it caught on my loose black jacket, and then so all threats have been neutralised. Like I say, they all recognised straight away. Firstly, when we set up, and then when we took the shot and when we went over the top and the detonators, they were still, what a high explosive grenade's like. It's not like the movies where everyone gets blown. It's like more of a stun. But people are there, weapons, threat to life. We were in the middle of it. We're at war. So then I engaged 5 of them, and take them down, and then, like I said, all the other things go on. I then say, right, let's go. Use 2, move back, and I'll cover. So we then do the one. I'm like holding it. They're running back, moving back. I fired a 40mm grenade just beyond the position, just to deter any sort of follow up. And then I say, right, get on the road and let's fucking go. So we did a couple of bounds, and then it was turn and then run. And to all these doubters in the military who say, when you do combat fitness tests and you got your gear and you got to run fast for 2 miles, it's for things like this. And we're running, and we run to the emergency extraction point or the emergency rendezvous. Get there. Paddy then sets up his sniper rifle. So looking down, we're hoping there's going to be a follow up, and but then I'm on the radio. Send a contact report asking for the sponsor patrol to come and pick us up, and then we're waiting in the dock, and it's funny because Larry's like cursing to himself quietly under his mouth, going, "Why the fuck aren't they coming?" Like he's like, and that's it. We're all angry that they're not following us. Why aren't they trying to attack us? Why aren't they coming after us? Because it's that mindset. We want this armoured division. There's this strange mentality. We want the armoured division to mobilise and come at us. And so eventually the sponsor patrol gets here and we get extracted out, and then all the way back to headquarters, get there for first, and obviously it's talk of the town because people are saying, "Oh, they've had close quarter engagement."
Yeah,
and it's all good, and we get ready to go in the next night. So it's mission kind of failure because we got compromised. But they say we're happy to go in the next night to establish, and this time the next night we'd go in and put an observation post in. We'd still do the CTR, but then do the observation post. But the takeaway point was preparation. The reactions that I did, and same as Paddy and Larry, they were critical because we kind of knew we were going to get into a fight. The odds are it was almost certain, and everyone knew that. Brigade headquarters, everyone knew that. So we were keyed in to that. I often think if that had been a routine patrol and we'd stumbled across the enemy in such a way, would we have reacted? Would we have been so keyed up? And it's the good point is what I'm saying to anyone who carries a gun, whether it be law enforcement, military, or civilians. Do you think you're going to kill someone today? And they're like, a lot of the time I'm saying no. I'm saying, why not? You're carrying a gun. Someone thinks that you're such a threat that you need to carry a gun, or you think you're a threat that you need to carry a gun. So you really should be thinking you're going to have to use lethal force today. Otherwise, why are you carrying it? To me, it seems illogical. But again, what's that's around? It's not doesn't sound like a psychopath. It's like have your head in the game.
Yeah.
Earlier to something I said earlier about seeing the signs, knowing, and like anyone who pulls a trigger with a surprised look on their face, it never usually ends well. So it's that whole thing. You see it coming, you see the signs, you get prepared, you get your head in the game, and this could be taking place over milliseconds. But that's the good point of that.
That is a damn good point. That's a hell of a first engagement. Rifle malfunctions. You go up, you use a fragmentation grenade, and then you kill 5 people with a pistol.
Coming in at number 4, SEAL Team 6's DJ Shipley talks about getting into a nasty firefight with enemy insurgents during a president-directed mission.
I don't know, do we get into it? Do we talk about the...
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, fuck it. So the backside of this is we had a dude that did the Kenya Mall attack. Remember that? So it's that dude. So it's around the Horn of Africa, and we are going to go get this dude. It's a...
Yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, fuck it.
Yeah,
okay.
let's get...
Fuck, I don't know, do we get into it? Do we talk about the...
Yeah,
okay.
let's get into it.
Okay, fuck it. So the backside of this is we had a dude that did the Kenya Mall attack. Remember that? So it's that dude. So it's around the Horn of Africa, and we are going to go get this dude. It's a president-directed mission. So it's a big one. The biggest one that I've ever done for sure. Intel's painting a picture that's maybe not accurate. Beachside bungalow. Like, he goes there to watch TV, hang out, be super benign, in and out, cool. Not the fucking case. We get there, we've planned, we've rehearsed, and we've done all our shit. And I'm running the primary breach on the first floor. I go up and over the gate. I should probably start off with, we swam in. So that's a whole different set of problems. We swam in a slaughterhouse offshoot. So you can imagine all the great white sharks. It's a real fucking thing. That's the fastest I ever swam in my life. So we swam in, we do our whole thing. I go up and over, and I'm messing around with the locking mechanism on the gate to try to get it open. And there's a string going from the gate. It looks like it's going inside. And now I think that was an early warning device. I think it was hooked to a bell, it was hooked to something. We get the gate open, we bring everybody in, and as we are rolling up to the front door, they start getting contact on the roof. Guy comes out, shoots, skips off one of the guy's helmet, now the firefight ensues. And it's 3 stories, and it's getting fucking chaotic, dude. Like, they have been prepping for this for a long fucking time, and this is not a beachside bungalow. There's no doors. They're all walled up from the inside. There's nothing to attack, you can't see anything. It's like I'm trying to get the door open, but you don't know where the hinges are. You don't know what it is. It's this huge, super thick door. Fuck, man, it probably must have been 6 inches thick.
So it's a fucking fortress.
It's a fucking fortress, dude. It's a literal fortress. They start getting contact on the roof, and we sprint up the front door. And as we go to divide, this dude opens up on the front door and lets it go. And you just see splinters of wood, and it just fucking traces us and doesn't hit anybody. We roll to either side, and now we're trying to deal with this problem. The hate coming out of that front door was nothing like I've ever seen. It just continuous, ascending it. And the way it ended up being was a long wall, the door in the center. I'm on one side, and I've got my shooting buddy on the other side, and I've got my team leader behind me. And we're trying to figure this out. Like, we have to get inside, but we're not supposed to kill this dude. That was the whole thing, is for whatever reason, the powers that be really wanted this dude alive, and the last thing they told us before we went, I would rather you shoot him 100 times and he lives than shoot him 1 time and he dies. Bring him back alive. Well, I'm fucking committed. We all are. We're going to bring that dude back alive. We came up with every plan we could have. And at the end of the day, if you don't want to be captured, you're not capturing the dude. You're just not. Especially in that part of the world, which is how violent they are. I mean, you've seen Black Hawk Down. That's the most realistic war movie I've ever fucking watched. That's exactly how it is. They are fucking... And they come on quick. So we're in this shitstorm in the middle of the door. And I'm trying to decide how I'm going to blow this thing. I've got my charge in my hand. It's already capped in. I've got my hydrogel peeled. I'm ready to stick this thing, and I'm timing between his bursts coming through the door. So you see it all chew up. Like 3, 2, wham, goes live again. You're like, motherfucker, man. You're just timing it. He finally goes, and I slap this thing. And there's nowhere to roll. There's just nothing to do. You got to eat it. It's like, luckily for me, the guy behind me is super experienced. I mean, we all are very experienced breachers, and we knew we could take it. We'd been there before. Just unfortunate. Turn your head and exhale and send it. And that concussion blew out everybody's ears. We were all done. And when it blew, I could see the locking mechanism behind it. It looked like a fucking railroad tie was stuck down. So big New York lock, and we weren't getting through it. But it blew out a slat about waist high down, about this wide. And grenades started coming out of it. Accurate. So the way it was, it's the front door, and there's a long-ass hallway going down, and there's a dude who's in a sandbag position with a belt fed at the end of the hallway. And it's just chewing down the hallway. There's a dude in the first room off to the right who's shooting at us through the window. So I've got my shooting buddy pinned. He's taking fire over this shoulder, and he's taking fire down the hallway, and he can't move. Can't do anything. It's like a big railing. We've got all the rest of the guys on, so we're the only 3 that are stuck on there. We're trying to get this door open. Let me back up. When I placed the charge, I roll back and I look at him and I was like, turning steel. And I turned my head and I blew it. And when I looked back up, he was gone. And I looked down and I saw the hole and I thought he went. And I dropped to my knees and I start going for the door, and my team leader's pulling me back. I guess he had jumped over the wall. I thought he went. And I was not going to let that fucking dude go alone. I'm on my hands and knees trying to crawl through this fucking hole, and he's pulling me back. Like, we're good, we're good. Well, now we can't get out. This thing's been going on for a couple minutes. The guys on the second deck are in the same shitstorm. The guys on the roof are in the exact same thing. Now there's people that are surrounding us we're taking fire from. The whole thing's getting dicey. And we've got to fucking leave. Like, we can't sit here and do this for another 10 more minutes. Like, you're not going to let us kill this guy. We can. We've got to get out. Unfortunately for us, the only egress route was directly behind us, which is directly in line with that dude's PK. So the only way out is to run straight through his alley. Can't go up and over the walls. There's not enough time. We don't have enough ladders, and there's quite a few guys inside the courtyard. We're trading grenades back and forth with this dude, and it finally comes time. The enemy QRF is upon us, and they're in technicals heading our way. And we gotta fucking go. So, look at the TL. What do you want, man? And he's like, get ready for an RPG. I'm like, oh, fuck. I mean, like, bells already rang. Like, we've got shit coming out of our nose. Like, we're super concussed. And we ate for the guys that know, I mean, we ate a 1,200 grain ECT from arm's length away.
Jesus.
No ear probe. I mean, we just sent it. I mean, I know what that charge is going to do. The overpressure is going to fuck me up, but it's not going to blow me up. I know what that charge will do and what it won't. And I was confident in it. And we had to send it. There was no other way. I wasn't going to turn around and leave without giving it every bit of effort I could. And I looked back at him, and I don't know how the fuck we're going to get out of here. It's like, get a T-bomb. So my buddy was down in the courtyard. He had a T-bomb because we had to swim in a bunch of this shit. So we had spread loaded a bunch of stuff. So I'd already launched one in, and I looked at him, and we did a real world flea flicker, which is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Like, fucking threw it across the doorway, caught it, untaped it, and launched it. But it was funny. It was so funny to see the TL. He's like pushing on the walls. He's like doing the the math in his head, like this many square feet, the concussion, this overpressure, what's it going to do to us? And we launched it. We sent a bunch of rounds down there and basically called for exfil, like, hey, I'm gonna let this thing loose, this overpressure charge, and then when it goes boom, we're all gonna take off and run. And that's what we did. And I'm doing the peekaboo thing. He's shooting. I'm trying to see where he is, and I finally see it. And I've got that T-bomb. I'm like, you ready? Pull the pin, and I launched the most beautiful toss I've ever had. And when I turned, the overpressure was so bad it blew me off the porch, and we took off at a dead run as fast as we could go. Had a big a big guy there blow through the gate. We didn't even open the gate. Everybody came up and over. That's how it was taking too long. We didn't have time to fuck with it. So he shouldered the gate and blew through it. That's how we got out. And that dude never skipped a beat firing that PK. Never.
Wow.
Like I threw a T-bomb, essentially what I thought, in that dude's lap. Nothing. Continued. I don't know how he didn't shoot us. I don't know how he didn't. Shot one of the recce guys off the ladder, like chewing up the wall that he was on. I mean, fucking crazy. Just the continuous hate that was coming out of the thing. We made it back down. We got a quick head count. We had everybody there. The enemy's massing, and we got to get the fuck out. And the surf was shitty. So the extract platform, long story short, gets rolled over in the surf zone. So now this whole thing, it happens on exfil, just in the confusion and everything else, just trying to get boats in alignment. And I mean, we had dudes get not left out at sea, but basically like, this is such a shit show right now, and it is so fucking dangerous. We're just going to swim as far as we can. We turn on an iris strobe and we just swam. Got picked up by a bunch of exfil platforms and everything else. But in the course of that, essentially the only way to get out is I grabbed a hold of the bow line and I wrapped it around my wrist, and I had them tow me out on a Zodiac. And when they picked up enough speed, the wake, it spun me and it popped my shoulder. So now my arm it's essentially paralyzed. Like, it's not working. It's like, holy fuck. I do the exact same thing and I wrap it up with this one. The same thing. Pow. Like, oh my God. Now I'm treading water. Like, I've got use of my arms, but it feels like it dislocated. Like, it feels strange. An exorbitant amount of pain. We get on a jet ski, round 2, and that thing flips. And because we're straddling it, the way it flipped with such force, it blew out the labia of my right hip and my left hip. So now I'm essentially bobbing like a bag of shit.
Jesus Christ.
So me and my swim buddy, we make it out. We get on there. We do our debrief. They strip us down naked. With all those frags that we ate, everything, none of the frags stuck in us. I mean, we were super concussed. We were fucked up. But you could brush it, and it was like metal shavings everywhere. It was like God came down and just said, "Not today." I mean, it was everywhere. Inside your ears, inside your eyelids, fucking everywhere. I mean, it was the strangest thing. We got back on, we started doing like the TBI reporting, what's your name? And I was feeling fucking weird. The 3 guys who were on that porch were feeling very weird. And you couldn't explain it. Because I've been knocked out a bunch with Fight Club and skateboarding. Like, I am no stranger to concussion. This is very different. I went into a med check and they shined the white light in my eyes, and I threw up. And then I started getting scared. I still can't hear shit. Both my ears are perfed. I've got a bunch of other wounds pre-existing that are nasty. I've got a nasty stomach infection, like an open wound that I had. We had to surgically super glue before we did it. So I had all kinds of shit I was battling anyway, and it kept getting worse. When we finally got back to base, it's 5 days later, and I remember laying in my bed with my sunglasses on, wanting to die. I didn't know what the fuck was going on with me. I couldn't make rhyme or reason. I couldn't get my thoughts together. I couldn't get anything. I couldn't be there for the debrief. I was fucking out of it. And I didn't know what was going on. And they drove me to a French hospital out in town, and they ran a CT scan. In the back of my skull, right back here, was jet black in my brain. And the doctor came back, and she's like, what is that? was like, I don't know, you tell me. And she's like, I don't know how you're standing right now. She's like, that's a major blow to the back of your head. Nothing hit me in the back of the head. She's like, well, something did. I don't remember any of that. I remember seeing the MRI, and I remember just telling them, like, that's just overpressure, man. Like, that's just overpressure. And they said whatever they did, it got documented. You know, we finish all that and we fly home. I'm on the next flight home. It's the end of the deployment. That's the last thing to happen. We fly home, and I land, and I have a 6-month-old waiting for me. I land, I drive straight home, and there is a newborn laying in that crib. Be dad. And dude, the next 48 hours of my fucking life, I didn't even know what to say. I couldn't, everything started to go to shit. I couldn't remember, I couldn't remember my wife's name. I couldn't remember my daughter's name. I got lost driving to fucking work.
Coming in at number 3, Marsoc Raider Prime Hall talks on a horrific insider attack he was involved in. This attack claimed multiple lives and would influence many different procedures and policies for the remainder of the war.
And we had just gotten so I lived in a little kind of like supply hub base, you know, and the main team lived at a different base that was like a click away, like a kilometer, you know, through the green zone. That's also filled with IEDs, so it might take you a little longer to get there, but it's there, right? And so for us, we're right next to the village, so that's what we were doing, a lot of the village engagement and like logistics and whatever else. So, but just knowing that at this little thing, there's only 3 operators. There's an Army infantry squad, and there's the Afghan Special Forces team, and the Terps. That's all we had. And so this other spot has like Army squad and the whole team and all the reinforcements and all the stuff.
So there's only 3 guys over here.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, and there was a lot of our team was gone at that point, because like we would do logistical runs sometimes to Camp Leatherneck, you know, to get ammo, supplies, whatever it is, come back. So we had guys that were gone, so we were like down. So anyway, I get woken up in the morning, and you know, I'm training every week. I'm doing training classes, and then I filled up how many guys I could have on my payroll. So then I had made a deal with the Army SF team that basically you guys have more availability on your roster. If we train this other guy to set up a checkpoint in his village, can we put those 20 guys under your guys? When? Yes, solid. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we did that. We made that deal. We trained these guys, these Afghan guys, and then they didn't want to work for the SF guys because they trained with me, or they trained with us. So their culture, they're like, no, you're our leader. You trained us. It's like, whoa, no, that wasn't our agreement. You know, like, you're supposed to be with these guys. So there was this whole fallout with this guy that was supposed to work as an Afghan local police commander that wouldn't work for the Army SF guys. So I told him, I was basically telling him, like, dude, when he would come to the gate to talk to me and I would go out there, I'd be like, go away. Like, dude, because he refused to do, we trained him and did everything. We had all the weapons, we had everything set up, and he's getting beat up by the Taliban in his village. Like, he's getting, all these things are happening. It's like, dude, now's the time, like, you know. So I got woken up this morning with this guy that's been coming, causing all these problems, like saying he's going to do this stuff, never fulfilled anything. So I get woken up at 7 a.m. I go out to the gate, you know, and I'm like, dude, go away. You know, it's always a story, like, you know, whatever. I'm with my interpreter. This is during Ramadan, and it's during, it's hot, dude. It's like 130, like 100 plus degrees all day long. And we just got a new Afghan Special Forces team. So that's like the background of it, you know, a week ago. So we just started training with these guys, and from the looks of it, we were calling them the Force Recon Afghan SF team because they all had really long beards and they were like fighters. Where we got into some serious like situations with our last Afghan SF team, and they did not look like fighters. But when it came down to it, they performed. You know.
Yeah.
But those guys that we had that relationship with, that we went through those missions with and survived, they were gone now. We had these new guys. And all I had was just the experience of them training with me and the Afghan local police, because they were like kind of the advisors helping to train them in a way. And it was a great experience so far with these guys. But little did I know, you know, that one of them was like, had it out with, you know, with whatever, with everyone, with them, with us, with the whole thing. And like, you know, decided to vote that morning and went up to the tower. You know, we have these 3 little security towers, and we get attacked almost every day from the village. So like the towers are, you know, attacking like target reference points and enemy positions in the village, right? That are attacking us every day, pretty much. So it's hard to think psychologically. It was hard to think because that was like our security bubble, dude. You know, that like that little bubble was security. It's not safe to walk outside in the daytime. It's not safe to expose yourself. But inside that little thing, especially if you're behind the wall, like you're not going to get hit, you know, and that you're safe in there. There's nothing inside that's going to get you. So that's one thing that kind of is part of it, where it's like psychologically when I was sitting there, because when I came back in, I went to we had a little kitchen that was right next to where the interpreters lived, and I got like a bowl of cereal, and I sat down. And I'm sitting at a picnic table, like wearing board shorts, you know, a tank top with like a Glock on my board shorts on a holster, and my sunglasses are on top of my head. And I'm sitting at a picnic table, and I get rocked unconscious. Boom. And next thing you know, I'm on the ground back here that's right by the interpreter's living space. And I was like doing this weird thing where I was holding my eyes open and it was blacked out. And I was thinking that because I had this little Polaris that I would cruise around short spaces, because it's like, but I was, you know, and the Polaris was right next to the picnic table. So for some reason, my first thought was that the Polaris exploded on me, you know, that it detonated, like an IED or something. And I was on the ground, and I was holding my eyes open, and I was in very much panic because I was blacked out, and I thought I was blinded because my glasses were on my head, and I was like in a disparity, you know. It's a weird series of events that happen, you know, because once I could see, I'm still on the ground, but then I start seeing like the Afghan Special Forces, team chief. That's like the guy that's in charge with the officer. The team chief is like the leader from my experience so far. I see him drop a bag of RPGs and run away, you know. Then I see another guy run out of our compound in the daytime. That's like unheard of. One of the Afghan SF guys in an enemy village. You know, like, so that was all like kind of like, whoa. And then I got, and this guy had been shooting RPGs, you know. So the first RPG hit close to me, right? There's shrapnel in every part of this table. Everything had shrapnel. There's RPG fins everywhere. Like, he ended up letting loose like 12 of these things in a small area. So all of our stuff was destroyed. All of our tech equipment, our camera systems, all that shit's destroyed. And like, it's like, whoa, everything's smoking. Like, and I thought we were locked in with mortars, dude. So I thought like we were under attack, and it was the A team, and I thought they had us like directly locked in with mortars, and they were just dropping on us, you know. And I got into the interpreter hooch and or the interpreter living space, and they're all holding hands like this. They're like, and I'm real tight with the interpreters, you know, and they're like, big problem, and they're all holding hands together. I'm like, damn, dude, I gotta, like, this is gonna do nobody any good to be in here, you know what I mean? I gotta get out, I gotta make moves. So I got to the operations center, which is just a little bunker covered with sandbags. And when I got in there, he's right on top. That was where the shooter was, dude. He's right in the security tower on top. So he starts hitting the operations center direct top down with RPGs. There's 4 of us inside of there. We're all rocked. Every time that thing hit, there was one guy that was down under the desk, and there was 3 of us that were standing up, and we were rocked every single time. And it was insane. And it was a crazy thing because there's enemy everywhere, dude. There's enemy in the village everywhere.
Yeah.
There's aircraft on station that's spawning enemy everywhere. There's guys that ran out of the compound, and it's like, what's going on? What's happening? And then one of the army guys came over and said, one of the army infantry guys said, hey, one of the Terps is up here, and said that one of the Afghan Special Forces guys has gone crazy in the tower and needs to get killed. We're like, whoa. At least we know what's going on, you know what I mean? At least
So up to this point, you didn't realize this was an active shooter?
no clue, dude. We didn't know it was coming from inside at all.
How much time has passed, do you think? I know you probably have no idea.
Who knows, man? But like, definitely I'd say 5 minutes, maybe. I mean, but dude, like, there's a lot happening, a lot of reloads and like a lot of RPGs and like a lot of like crazy things that are materializing in that 5 minutes. You know, there's a lot of like damage and stuff being done. And you know, what ended up happening is we, with like the guys that were there that were, you know, senior to me, that were raiders that were luckily in the operations center, like helped clear out the compound because we didn't know what was clear and what wasn't at that point. Now that we have an active shooter, who else is an active shooter? You don't know, so you have to clear everything like it's not safe. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we clear out, we get up to the side, and then when we got to the back, all the Afghan Special Forces guys, these are like all the OG guys that are like been so impressive to train with the long beards and everything. They're all handing their rifles like, we're done. Like, you guys help. Because 3 of their team members were dead on the ground. This guy was killing them, active shooter, killed their captain, you know? Like, because throughout this thing, people are like thinking, they had a couple of their guys thinking we were getting attacked from outside the village. So they initiated the battle drill and they were running up to the tower. And the guy was like, if you come up anymore, I'm going to shoot you. And domed him. Boom. So now there's a guy shot in the head on the side of the stairs going up to the tower. Then now the captain tried to get up on their living space to shoot his own guy once he realized what was going on. And as soon as he popped his head up, this guy domed him. So their captain got shot, killed, fell off. He's dead on the ground. And then another guy, same thing. So that's why they were all, because all their guys that got killed. And they were you know, so they actually were the ones, you know, to help. Like, we worked with them and got the situation done. But, dude.
Hold on, how'd you get it done?
That guy's up there in a semi-enclosed position shooting like over 10 RPGs. He's done himself. He smoked it like that. That whole post was on fire, dude. Like, he was like dying inside. There's no way that guy wasn't dying. That the backblast of each of those RPGs, it's almost like doing it in a closed room. They were ballistic. It was a ballistic post that got shot every day. That was bulletproof. That didn't have air, like, it wasn't like clear backblast area.
Oh, okay.
So he was shooting these rockets.
He was
blasting
shooting from
himself.
an enclosed room.
Yes.
Not even really a room.
No, it's an enclosed post.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was one of those towers where it was open.
No, so it's like, dude, you could have shot a paintball gun at that guy at the end, and he probably would have died. You know, like, that's nothing to, you know, but he offed himself by shooting all those rockets in that enclosed position, dudes. He was on fire, you know.
Yeah.
We called it Ghost Post after that. But yeah, so that, you know, that insider attack thing, it was like right after it happened, because I failed my exams afterwards, so I got flown out for concussions because I had a loss of consciousness and whatever else. But a lot of people got TBIs on that with all those RPGs and stuff. A lot of people got rocked, so there was a lot of our team members that got flown out. But a couple of my team members took me over and like immediately afterwards and shown me the situation and like shown me like the forensics kind of on it. Like, dude, look where you were sitting. Look at this. Look at like my tray, like my cereal. Like, look at all this stuff. There's shrapnel in every single thing, dude. Like, like took a picture and like it was definitely something. But then after that, I was like, got medevaced, and then, I mean, like I said, dude, we had our executive officer in our company was back, lost both of his legs on the previous deployment and was back on that deployment, double amputee above the knee. And so when we're medevaced for a concussion, and it's like, dude, I got to get back. Like, I'm good, and I got to get back and so
To your boys.
yeah. So everybody that got sent, we all got back like within 2 days or something, back to the thing. But dude, those RPGs, that like concussion was severe, for sure. And I still like, I've had a lot of like, I've recalled that memory of like that initial thing, that boom, so many times, dude. Like,
Did any Raiders get fucked up in that?
like fucked up with concussions and probably their ears blown out, or, fucking memories of like all the shit, because there were a lot of insider attacks, so then it kind of gets into, but there's a psychological part of it is what I'm trying to get at, communicate to you, of your safe space being interrupted and your safe security bubble of what you like know and depend on for your fucking life, to be your safe space, that like compromised, is what kind of like has kept me up at night,
Yeah.
and I know it's kept some of my other teammates up too, is that safe space shit. And so, again, like, I look at it like Mr. Magoo. Like, dude, I was there at the table. I got blown off, and then I just made it into this, and then crawled over here, and then made it into here, in between all these RPG blasts. I didn't even know that that was it. I thought it was something else.
Yeah.
So,
And that was your first deployment?
that was my first legit
MARSOC deployment.
Yeah, that was my first MARSOC deployment. Yeah.
Damn. What was it like going back?
Coming back to the States.
No. You said you got medevaced. What was it like going back to the same spot?
Damn, dude. I mean, it's definitely a wake-up call. What was cool was that like all of my Afghan like local police, like my commander and all the people that I worked with, they were all like, because the Afghan special forces guys did it. So these guys were like, dude, they were so mad that they had done that, and so they were like, no one's ever gonna, and that's a big reason why I feel like I never got I never got hit with a insider with my Afghan local police, is because the commander had made the pilgrimage to Mecca, right? And that was my guy that I worked with. So he had like a religious status with everybody that they didn't want to, do you see what I'm saying? That they didn't want to cross.
Yeah.
And because he blessed me off, that that saved me from some attacks, I feel like.
Coming in at number 2, Navy SEAL Jason Redman talks on near-death experience when coming face-to-face with enemy insurgents in Fallujah, Iraq.
So we're just sitting there waiting. And my boss comes up to me and says, hey, man, snipers are watching, and we just watched 5 guys run out of a house about 150 yards away and run out of the house and run across the street into some vegetation. So I want you to take your team and go up there. Let's wrap these guys up and find out who they are. Because that's unusual. You know, if you just flew in on helicopters and took down a target, people aren't moving at night like that.
Yeah.
Especially if they're running and hiding. And we had seen that before. We had seen that on other targets. So I got our guys online. There were 9 of us, DJ being one of them. And we pushed up from the south going north towards his house. And there was, where our house was, there was a road and it kind of made a S. The target house was kind of here at the first bend, and underneath that curve was kind of this large vegetated field, and on the north side was nothing but thousands of yards of desert. So we're pushing through the vegetation. We pushed, we had a gunship overhead. As a matter of fact, things had gotten so hairy, we had been getting into so many engagements and had so many close calls, the gunship became a go, no-go criteria for us at the end of that deployment. Like if we didn't have a gunship, we weren't going. So we had the gunship overhead, and we're, you know, I was talking to them, hey, what do you see? We just see some guys that are laying there. So any movement, any guns? No, we're not seeing anything. Okay, roger that. So we pushed into this vegetation, and dude, it was so fucking thick, loud, crackly. It was almost, it reminded me of like a bamboo grove. But it was so dense, like your night vision didn't work at all. You couldn't see shit. You just had this green blob. And we're trying to crack through this stuff. So my spidey sense is like going bonkers. And this is, I tell a lot of people now, and I try and tell young leaders, man, listen to your sixth sense. I wrongly chalked it up as fear. I was like, it's just fear. This is a hairy situation. You know, this just fear. This is our tactics, you know, continue to push through, and, you know, everybody's online. We're good. You know, gunship doesn't see anything, but I didn't listen to that. I should have, hindsight being 2020, I would have grabbed my team leader and said, hey man, my spidey sense is going nuts. How's yours? What's going on? And maybe he would have said, hey bro, I think it's just fear. Let's drive forward. Or he would have said, yeah, dude, maybe we should approach this a different way. So we kind of kept pushing forward. As we're driving through, the gunship comes over and says, hey, you're going to miss those guys. You need to turn to the northeast. So roger that. So we make this turn. On our left were 2 new guys and our EOD guy. So apparently those guys weren't monitoring the right freak. So they didn't hear the call to make that turn. So when we made that turn, they kept going straight. So as we're pushing, we realized, you know, it was the interpreter was off to my left, and he said, Red, hey, the guys aren't with us anymore. I'm like, what? So we stopped, took a knee, and we're waiting. Can't really hear them. At this point, we had moved up to the northeast, and I don't know who was on the far right flank, but they were like, hey, I'm on the edge of a field. Why don't we push out? Let's get out of this vegetation, and then we can push up to the north. At that point, our EOD guy came up and said, hey, yeah, we missed you guys somehow. He said, I can push out to the west. I said, yeah, do that. Let's, you know, because now, you know, all I'm thinking about is we have 2 maneuvering elements and an unknown enemy force. So I'm like, roger that. We're pushing out to the east. You guys push out to the west. Let's move up in the open area. Let's reconnect. And then we'll go in and wrap these guys up from the north. So as we're pushing out that corner, I was now closer to the front, myself and the interpreter, DJ, our medic, one of the other guys, Matt, is behind me, and our team leader. And it was about that time. I'm now out in the open, myself and the interpreter, and push to the left to start moving down to the west to link up with those three guys. And right as our medic is coming out of the vegetation, he literally stepped right on an enemy fighter. This enemy fighter rolls over and goes to engage him, and he shoots him. So at this point now, I'm out front, the interpreter's out front. There's at least one other guy with us that's out front. And what we didn't realize is we were directly in the kill zone.
Who stepped on him?
Our medic stepped on an enemy
on
fighter.
an enemy fighter?
Yep. So what we didn't
shit.
know, so what the gunship saw was only a few guys. What actually was there was almost what we estimate to be a 12 to 15 man element that had a ambush line set up about 5 yards back in that vegetation facing north. What we think probably happened was the leader had been in the building we took down earlier and then moved up to this house, 100 yards away to the north to sleep for the night. And probably had his security detail set up so that if vehicles came in, because our vehicles would have to pull right in front of that vegetation, or if helicopters landed in that open field, either way, they would have been in perfect position to engage us. We ended up coming up from the south. Very disciplined force because, man, we were cracking all kinds of brush behind them, and they didn't engage us from the south. They waited until we were in the kill zone. So, Luke engaged that guy, and that started that gunfight. The whole world erupted at that point. Luke was the first one shot, took a round right below the knee. He had a compound fracture. Bone came out and anchored him right into the ground. He's screaming, pinned down. That's when Maddie ran forward, grabbed him. The only thing behind us was this large John Deere tractor tire in that tree that I guess DJ got behind. I was out front. I'm laying down fire. And I'll be honest, what happened next was I started yelling out, ceasefire, ceasefire. Because I knew the angle we were at. Like, we were in this corner, and those other guys were off to the west. So I'm thinking, dude, we're fucking totally gonna shoot each other. So I was initially yelling ceasefire, which I quickly realized, okay, we're in the middle of a gunfight, like we can't ceasefire. So then I started yelling, make sure you know who you're shooting at. But yeah, at this point, we're getting all shot up. Matty had been stitched up the leg and in the arm. He still managed to get Luke back behind that tire. I guess by yelling and shooting, I attracted a lot of attention because at this point I had both machine guns turned on me, and I was stitched across the body armor, 2 rounds in the left elbow. I took rounds off my gun, rounds off my helmet, had my left night vision tube shot off.
Holy shit.
Turned to try and move back to the tire at this point. And I guess that's when I caught the round from behind that hit me in the face. So it caught me right in front of the ear, traveled through my face, took off most of my nose, vaporized my orbital floor, broke all the bones above my eye, shattered the head of my jaw, broke the head of my jaw and shattered my jaw down to my chin and knocked me out. And Jay and those guys saw that. They saw me fall. So they thought I was dead. So I'm unconscious at this point, not aware of that. And this gunfight's now raging. Like, they're behind the tire in the tree, and they're just, raging gunfight about, I don't know, 15, 20 yards, 15 yards. I mean, it's pretty close.
Apart?
Apart. Yeah, from where the tire and the tree was to this vegetation where these guys are, but we can't see them. All you can see is muzzle flashes. So I come to at whatever point. The gunfight we know lasted 30 to 40 minutes, 35 to 40 minutes. I don't know how long I was unconscious, maybe 10 minutes. So I come to at this point, and I was I knew I was way fucked up. Like when I got shot in the arm, like that fucking hurt a lot. As a matter of fact, I thought my arm was shot off. After I'd been shot in the face, when I came to, I really wasn't feeling any pain. I just was fucked up. I was trying to like, okay, where am I? What's happening? And then kind of the world started to open back up, and like I could hear the gunfire. I also started to notice rounds traveling over me, the tracer fire literally traveling over me. At this point I was laying flat on my back, and I'm like, okay, holy shit, like you're still in this gunfight, and that's tracer fire, like do not sit up. At one point, and I don't know why, I took my helmet off. I'm laying there and I unclipped my helmet and took my helmet off, and that's when at some point I heard it. I took that round through my helmet that now is drawn in my skull, so right through the forehead of my helmet. I took another round while I was laying on the ground off my right side plate. And the interesting thing about side plates is I normally didn't wear them. The only reason I wore side plates at night, one, a little voice before that mission was like, wear your side plates. I was like, I don't normally wear my side plates. I want to be lighter. I normally only wore them on mobility ops to give me more protection against IEDs. But I don't know, little voice was like, wear your side plates. So I wore my side plates and I took a round right off the right side plate. So shit show, chaos, shooting. And I remember there was a lull in fire, and I called out to my team leader and was like, how long till the medevac? And he was like, Red, you're still alive? I was like, yeah, how long to the medevac? And he was like, 5 minutes. So I like focused on, you got to stay awake to stay alive. Yeah, you got to make it to the medevac, like if you're going to get out of here alive. So I knew my arm had been fucked up. I tried to get my tourniquet on my arm, and I'll be honest, I'd lost so much blood, I couldn't even break the rubber bands on my tourniquet.
Oh my God.
So, which is a lesson learned. I used 3 of those really thick rigging rubber bands we use for our parachutes.
That's what I used to use.
Yeah, well, lesson learned. When you're really weak, I couldn't break them. I couldn't get enough leverage with my good arm to break them. So I'm laying there, I'm bleeding out. This gunfight continues to rage, and more time goes by. And I ask our team leader again, hey, how long to the medevac? He's like, 5 more minutes. I'm like, you said that last time. So,
were you by yourself over there?
yeah, I'm
this
out
whole
front.
time?
I'm literally pinned down about 10 yards, 15 yards in front of the guys. So, and what I realized though is, dude, there's nothing they can do. They've got to win this fight. They can't run out and get you. They're going to get all shot up. So you just got to be patient, which is a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
When you realize you're bleeding out.
Fuck, man.
So at what point Jay, calls me or yells out, hey, let me back up for a second. He asked for a fire mission, and the gunship is like, absolutely not. He's like, you guys are so close, we'll fucking kill you. Like, we were well within danger close parameters. So they're like, you have to figure out a way to fall back from these guys. And Jay's like, dude, there's no place for us to go. It's like thousands of yards of empty desert. It's like, not only that, I got 2 dudes all shot up, one, super shot up, and, we can't even get to him. And they're like, you got to figure something out because we can't bring this fire mission in. We'll kill you guys. So period of time goes by. He calls back again. They're like, no, absolutely not. So the 3rd time he calls back and he's like, look, and I don't know how long this has been. And this had been probably 25 minutes at this point in a very intense gunfight. He's like, we are running out of ammo. He's like, nobody's going to be left if you don't bring this fire mission in. So finally they said, okay, well, what's your JTAC number? So JTACs in the military are guys who've been officially trained it's called a Joint Tactical Air Controller. So that means they have been blessed by special operations to have the skills to bring in gunfire from aircraft. And they have to know all the different parameters and all these things so that we don't mistakenly kill friendly forces, which we have done with fire missions from the sky. So they say to Jay, what's your JTAC number? Because they wanted to put the onus on him, that if they accidentally killed us, it would be Jay's fault and not the gunship's fault. And I mean, I respect that. I don't know, sometimes. Anyways, so he gave it to him, and I remember him yelling out to me, hey, incoming. And I remember laying there, and you can hear the gun go off, and there's a delay. This period of time before the rounds hit the ground. I mean, decent amount. And I remember waiting, and all of a sudden, boom! It was 40 Mike, and it literally hit the ground directly in front of me, and in front of me enough that it blew up, and I felt the concussive blast and the dust and debris. And immediately, the machine gun in front of me went cold, and I heard the guy yelling out, Allah Akbar. And I was like, roger that, stand by, bro, because here he comes. And sure enough, they called in the next couple of fire missions. So in between those fire missions, Jay ran forward and got me and dragged me back to the tire. So they were still engaging and fighting. So some of the things I don't remember to this day, I found this out years later. We were all hanging out one night, and our medic was like, hey man, do you remember when you yelled at me for throwing that grenade? I was like, what? No. And he's like, yeah, like we were back, you were by the tire, you were totally fucking unconscious. And I said, hey, I'm gonna throw a grenade. And dude, you sat straight up and were like, put that fucking grenade away before you kill us all. And the reason being is because I guess it's a training lesson from SEAL Team 4 back in the day. You don't throw grenades into vegetation because it'll bounce off vegetation and come back at you. So I don't know, but he was like, yeah, man, like, dude, I didn't, he was like, dude, you like barked thunder and then you laid back down and went back unconscious. So
I don't know.
I don't remember that story at all. I mean, I don't remember anything about that. But finally called in additional fire missions, took the enemy out, and they called in the medevac, and the medevac landed about 75 yards from us. And my team leader started to drag me. And it was at that point I suddenly felt all the pain. I was like, holy shit, this hurts. So I stopped him and I said, no, hey, stop, let me get up. And I still believe my arm had been shot off, and I had taken my helmet off. So I was like, Jay, grab my arm and grab my helmet, and I'm going to the helicopter. And so I walked to the helicopter, and I remember like I was walking like this, and literally blood's just pouring out of my face all over my body armor. I mean, I still in my mind can see it, like just blood pouring out of my face as I walked to the helicopter. And I remember getting to the helo and grabbing onto, that metal handle on the 60 door. I remember like just vividly grabbing that handle, and the flight medics, it was a 160th bird, the flight medics like helping me to get up into the helicopter. And then they loaded Matt and Maddie and our medic onto the helicopter. And so there are parts of this story I learned later. And then there are parts of this story that what I remember, it was just being in the helicopter, like stay awake, stay alive. There was a miracle moment that I tell people that occurred. And, you and I last night, we were talking a little bit about faith and struggles in faith. And I have always struggled at times with my faith. And I'd love to tell everybody at this moment on the battlefield, like, rock solid faith forever. But I still struggle sometimes. But right before that second fire mission, I was dying, like no doubt in my mind. Like I was laying there, this gunfight's going on. Like, we learn all the aspects of trauma. You learn, hey man, this is what happens when you go into shock. And all the signs were there. Like, I was losing feeling. I was getting cold. It was getting harder and harder to breathe. It was getting harder and harder to think. And I was like, dude, you're getting ready to check out. Like, this is it. This is where you go. And that was hard. I'll be honest. At first, I was kind of angry. Like, I was angry that I had allowed us to get into this position. I also was angry that the enemy would have the victory of killing me. And then I started thinking more about my family, and that I was never going to see my kids again. And I talked to a lot of people about this, that, hey man, we worry so much about stuff in this life. And I got to tell you, when I was laying there dying, I didn't think about any of my stuff. I didn't care about that. All I cared about was, my wife and my kids, and just saying, hey, I love you one more time. So it was in that moment that I don't know, I called out to God. I said, I need your help. I need strength to go home. And like that, like I had it, I just suddenly felt this surge of strength. So pretty amazing to go from I couldn't move a muscle however many minutes before, that I got up and I walked to that helicopter and got on. On that ride back, all I focused on, stay awake, stay alive, stay awake, stay alive.
How the fuck were you breathing?
I was leaning forward. They had me set up, they had me in the helicopter, they had me up against the wall, and I was leaning forward like this. And I learned later, so it was a TF-160th medevac crew. So years later, I tracked down that crew because I wanted to thank them. I also managed to track down a lot of people that were in the OR that saved my life. But a friend of mine who actually lives in this area now, retired 160th pilot, helped me track down and found the crew that flew that mission that night. I didn't get to meet the pilot, but I talked to him on the phone. And he was like, man, I've flown like 200 medevacs. He's like, never once have I had somebody track me down and say thank you. I was like, well, I am. I said, I'm thanking you, man.
Damn.
Me and my family. So, so then later I actually got to meet the crew chiefs and the flight medic. So, and we were hanging out and they were telling me things about that night. Like, they told me that they were not rigged for 3 wounded. They were only rigged for 2. So they weren't able to shut the doors or the door. So, and dude, they flew the rotors off that helicopter. And we're all, I've been shot multiple times. Maddie's been shot multiple times. Luke almost had his leg severed. So we're bleeding everywhere. And he told me by the time they landed, they got us off the helicopter. They didn't know if we survived. He said that they had me, the flight medic had me in the helicopter. I was leaning, I was next to the crew chief door gunner. And what they did is they had me put my thumb on my chest. I don't remember this at all. But if I slumped, the medic said, hey, hit him, wake him up. And I'd come to and put my thumb back on my chest. So that's how, part of the way that he was keeping an eye on me, and he'd come over and try and keep my airway clear while he was working on the other guys.
Could you see?
I could see. Even though I could see out of this eye. This was all fucked up, but they said when they landed, they got us out of the helicopter. I remember I was too weak. I didn't climb out of the helicopter on my own. They offloaded me and put me on a stretcher car. And I remember, but it's weird what your mind remembers. Like, I remember driving, and I remember we went under like this wooden bridge, and there was a guy up on top smoking, looking down at me. I remember that. I remember getting into the outer area where they take all your gear off, and I remember them tugging on all that gear and like starting to cut everything off, body armor and weapons and all that stuff. So they got me into the operating room, And I was like, all right, dude, you made it. Like, you can die, and they'll save you. I remember watching like Baghdad ER, I think was the show, and there was a statistic on that show that if you made it, if you showed up at the combat support hospital, the emergency room there with a pulse, like the doctors had a 90% chance of saving you. So I was like, I'm good, man. Like I can let go, and they'll jumpstart me or do whatever they got to do, but like I'm good, man. 90%, I'll take those odds all day. And so I let go because, man, everything in me to stay awake, like everything in me wanted to let go. It was like swimming with 100-pound weights tied to my ankles. Like everything said, just let go, just go to sleep. And like I knew, like if you go to sleep, dude, you'll never wake up again.
Yeah.
So we were talking about that last night. I fought like hell to stay alive. So they get me into the operating room, and all these doctors and nurses come in, and they're barking out orders, and I'm like drifting into nothingness. And there was a nurse on my left side. So on my first line gear, I used to carry a grenade in a pouch right here. And I guess they missed that grenade when they were cutting all my gear off. So this nurse finds it, and she yells out, "Hey, he's still got a bomb on him." And like instantly, like everybody runs out of the operating room.
Oh,
like I guess that was their emergency action plan, like clear the operating room. So I'm laying there and I'm like, oh my God, you've got to be shitting me. I'm like, I'm dying here. And that's like, I remember thinking like, oh my God, what a bad day. And then that's like the last thing I remember.
And last but not least, coming in at number 1, Nick Irving, a.k.a. The Reaper, has 33 confirmed kills in a single 3.5-month deployment, and talks about going on the worst mission of his life during his deployment in Afghanistan.
My plan for my team was to set up like a blocking position a good distance away from the actual, where the target building was at, and to, block this avenue of approach that was going into the town where the house was at. We set up in this open field, but I remember walking through the open field, and there's these craters, like holes in the ground. I'm like, what is this stuff? So I look back at my spotter, and something told me, I was like, dude, if something goes wrong, we're coming back to these holes. No shit, man. Make it past this hole, maybe 50 meters or so. We lay down, I'm pulling security along this long road, and the town starts to wake up, and I'm just getting these bad vibes. Took my night vision off, try to blend in with the terrain as much as possible. And I see this, the mopeds, what do you call those little, like a moped. Mm-hmm. And there's 2 guys on a moped, and he rolls up, and I put my laser on him. I'm like, dude, he's going, to the objective. Put my laser on him, my laser light, and he sees it, and I'm waving around in his chest. He can't see me in the grass yet, but he looks down in his chest, he stops the bike, and he looks down in his chest, and he looks up in that direction of where I was at. I'll never forget the look in his eyes of hate. Just hate, bro. And he backs up, does a Yui, and goes away. And I was like, this isn't good. This is not good. And then in front of us, a huddle forms, like a football huddle. These guys get into a huddle, and me and my spotter are looking at them. I call back to the recce team lead. I'm like, hey, can we smoke these guys? He's like, do they have weapons? And I'm like, no. But I just got a bad feeling, man. Like, the way everything about them, they were planning and looking around, looking at where they thought we were, and it just felt weird. They were all in this huddle, and then no shit, bro. They were like, ready, break. They scatter. A minute or 2 later, bro, like the grass was like waist high that we were in. And I remember, like, dude, the grass being mowed around us. It just started getting chopped down in all directions, all 360, it lit up. And I remember looking back at my spotter. The recce guys are already breaking contact. We go back, and 4 of us jumped into the hole. I'm second guy in the hole. We had the recce team lead go in. Pemberton's on top of me. I'm sorry, the other guy, he's right on the outside of the hole, and he's in a star fort, like, sprawled out. And we had the medic behind him also sprawled out. And, dude, we were getting lit up, bro. I cannot describe how intense the fire was around us. And then it, like, stopped. And we just heard, pow, just one crack at a time. But the intervals were very consistent and very accurate. And I'm like, oh shit, we're getting engaged by a sniper. And then it clicked what the Marines told me before coming into that area. They were like, dude, one, we cannot go with anything less than a brigade. And we're out there with less than 35 guys. Two, there's a Chechen sniper that's working that area, and he's been out there for a while. He has a, supposed to be a big kill record. He's been fighting for way longer than your average fighter, supposedly like the Soviet days or whatnot, and has been like a mercenary in that area, and from a Chechen sniper. So I deduced it down to, this is him. He's good, really good. So I call it up. We're being engaged by a sniper. So I'm trying to do a snap bang where I hear the crack and I wait for the report of the rifle, like lightning and thunder, and I'm getting a general idea of how far away the sniper is. So I pinpoint him to this tall building. It's where I would be if I were a sniper. Zoom in, I'm looking, and I'm not too sure, so I go to pick up my head, and crack, bullet goes by. Look at Pemberton, he goes to roll over, crack, bullet snaps and pops up dust next to him. Then it started getting way more accurate. Me and I call him Jay, the team lead from Recce, me and him pop up, and we're almost helmet to helmet, bro. And a bullet between us, he pushes off of me, I push off of him, and the next thing I heard was the medic screaming, who's hit, who's hit? Team lead thinks my head is gone, I think his head is gone. He's like, I'm good, are you good, check yourself. I'm checking my face like, dude, I'm hit, something's happened. Nothing. And that went on for 3 hours of playing volleyball with this sniper in this small hole, and the fire just got more accurate. Every movement that you would make, he'd take a snap at it. He was going off of movement. And I would put rounds to where I think he's at, but I know I'm not gonna hit him because I think he's shooting from back inside of the room, outside the window, or this little slit, or a hole in the side of the wall, or the building. But he's backed away from it, so I know I'm not gonna hit this guy, so I'm just putting rounds into it. Then we started to hear the enemy close in on us, and you can hear him, Allah Akbar, and all that. And at one point they got close where you could hear the footsteps. My spotter starts engaging guys who are close, bro, close to us with the 300 Win Mag. And he's laying some hate down, and it gets picked back up. We're calling in for airstrikes. I'm damn near crying, bro. I've never cussed out a colonel in my life, but cussed this colonel out like, we need bombs. We need help bad. We're about to be on CNN getting our freaking heads chopped off, Yeah, so, they could not drop any bombs.
Why?
Obama's rule of engagement, bro. We could not have anything with 0.1% collateral damage, meaning if we dropped a bomb and their home got hit with shrapnel, that would be a bad deal for, it was all about winning the hearts and minds. So getting a bomb dropped at that time was impossible. And we couldn't drop it to where I had pinpointed where I figured this guy was at, the sniper, found his location on the map. We called it in for an airstrike. The best that they said they could do was do a flyover, a show of force. The first thing that came over was it was an F-16 or F-15, one of those jets. He came over, didn't do anything. Next, I looked up, and I thought I saw a UFO. I'm tired, borderline hallucinating. So I'm like, yeah, that's a UFO. And it's just this thin, black, looked like a disc. And it's low, bro, low. And as soon as it gets closer, I'm like, that's a That's a B-2 stealth bomber. I've never seen one of these things before in my life, except for like on TV. And it was way bigger than what I expected and thinner than I expected. And I remember he had his bay doors open and he dropped flares. And that didn't do anything. So then we called in for bombs to be dropped on our location. So I'm calling up like, drop them on us because we're getting, overrun. And I'm playing volleyball with a sniper I can barely see, and I picked some machine gunners off on a rooftop who was shooting at us, picked some more guys off in the field. And then, when we thought it was over, I look at the recce team lead, and I'm like, dude, do you have a grenade? And he already knew I was going with it. If they get in close, we're gonna pull this grenade, hug it, and we're gonna kill them with us, right? So he pulls out his grenade. Man, 1 second, bro. Yeah. That's where I fist bump Mike Pemberton. Yeah, we said our goodbyes. 1 second.
It's okay, man.
Like I said, this is the worst one, so I'm good after this one. And I haven't talked about it in a while, so I think that is different. But yeah, say our goodbyes. I fist pound Mike Pemberton, and I'm like, dude, tell my wife I was not a bitch. And he's like, dude, I'm not telling her anything. She's Mexican. She'll cut me. I'm like, yes, she will. And he did our little goodbyes or whatever. Waited to these guys to, overrun us. And look over my shoulder, and here's my dumb brain again, my kid brain. I thought it was the Roadrunner. Like when someone's running real fast and you can see the dust kicking up from the back of their feet. It was a machine gun team. Cop, Eric Ennis, those guys. They heard the call. And dude. Yeah. They heard the call of, we were pinned down pretty good. And they came in and extracted us, and we popped smoke. Murphy's Law. We popped smoke and the wind blew it the opposite direction, so we had no cover, like screen cover or anything like that to bound out. We were going to bound out in twos, and me and Mike Pemberton were going to be the last guys to bound out, covering them as best as we could. As they made it back to the machine gun team on the road that we were originally overlooking, and snipers trying to pick us off as we're running. So I tell Mike, I'm like, dude, zigzag. And I learned this from just, where I grew up. I'm like, dude, if you're getting shot at, zigzag. And I didn't zigzag. I just V-lined it. And it's the fastest. I felt like I was running on clouds, man. I could not feel the ground beneath my feet. V-lined it to the machine gun team. Mike's right behind me. And you can hear the cracks of the rifle. And you see the ground pop up. And made it back to the machine gun team. I look at Cop, I'm like, dude, I am sucking. I need water bad. Haven't had water in, felt like a day or whatever, and really thirsty, and mouth was sticking together and couldn't form any spit. He gives me water out his backpack. I drank half the bottle, gave the rest to Mike, and it's up to me, hey, where are we going? I'm like, well, let's make our way back to the main element where you guys came from, and we'll join up with them and finish out this mission. And as we pick up to move out, I see some guy pop out from the backside of this little house, and I put my rifle over Pemberton's shoulder. We're both facing that direction. I use his shoulder as a brace because we're standing, and I, shot this guy as he poked out from behind the house, and like a walking firefight. And I made the dumbest call of my life, man, of skirting the tree line. Yeah. Yeah. Should have went in it. And skirted the tree line, probably tired. Wanted to get to the element as quickly as we could because they were also in a huge firefight, throwing grenades and back and forth, borderline hand-to-hand combat in this little, like, ravine. It was intense, bro. Making it back to them, skirted the tree line, and I shit you not, I saw the ground open up. Like a guy come out the ground, he lifted up the grass, and he came out of the ground, and it's a team of guys, and they started engaging us from, dude, meet at that wall. It's danger close.
Shit.
And we get ambushed, and I remember diving head first. I didn't care how deep this ditch was or what was in it. Dove in, hit water, like chest deep water. We all jump into it, and I look over and I can see Cop, the guy who had just rescued us. He's got his leg up on the embankment. Yeah. Laying down a cover fire. And I can see the dude's heads in the ground, and I start shooting, and what I could hit, I know I hit one, and got back down, and as I get into like cover from the embankment portion, I'm like this high in water, chest high, neck high at this point, and I hear this loud sound like an M4. An M4 was right by my ear, and I'm like, I go to look over, like, dude, back away a little bit, and there's no one right there. But then I see the embankment behind me, the mud like blowing up, and I'm like, holy shit, that's gunfire. So I move off to the side a little bit, and that's when I'm going back up to engage, and I hear this weird slap, and I heard cops scream. And I look, and I see like a water hose, dumb brain again, pumping red water, like squirting into the field. Like, what is that? Then I see him fall, and he's screaming, bro, screaming, cussing and screaming. And his femoral artery was hit, snapped up into his body, and he took 2 rounds to it. And I remember the ravine, the water we were in, like turning different color, dark brown, and it tasted like pennies. And look at a commander, the lead, who's with us, and by this point he's next to me, so I grab him, I pull him in close to I could talk to him in his ear, screaming, we need to get, there's like 300 meters down this ravine or down here to this opening. That's where we take our dog leg and go across this field in the safe haven. The safe house was gonna be there. But we have to go now. We're screwed in this little ravine, and screwed. And as I'm talking to him, I feel a splash of warm water slap my face, and then he just got weightless. And I thought, I don't know what I thought. I just thought he just sat down really fast. And he goes down, I wipe the water off my face, and it wasn't water, it was his blood. And I see this right above his body armor, this gaping hamburger meat hanging out of his chest. I go back up against the embankment. Pemberton comes over, and he just puts his hand inside the wound. And I remember him like screaming. Yeah. And I went black, bro. It's the only time in combat where I like blacked out for a second. I'm staring in his eyes and watching his chest open up and Pemberton's hand in it and him screaming, and Cop had stopped screaming at this point, and our medic is working on him, badass medic, Melvin. His kit bag is floating in the water, and he's doing like surgery, bro, you know?
Shit.
Put on 2 tourniquets, bleeding wouldn't stop. He's packing it, trying to, get it to stop. Watkins got hit in his foot, or his ankle. So we're down 3, And one of the recce guys came over and slapped me on my helmet. He slapped me on my helmet and he's like, dude, get back in it, you know? I'm like, oh shit, yeah. And he's like, come over here. The sniper, he's not engaging him. And he's like, come over here to me behind this weird little fallen tree. And as soon as I get up next to him to get eyes on anything, we get shot at. And he pushes me, was like, dude, he's targeting you, you know? Everywhere I went down this ravine, pow, crack, crack. And the plead, the cries, and, you know, everybody's jacked up and cops going in and out of consciousness. And we finally made the decision to, let's just move. We can't get pinned down here. So he passed his body up on the stretcher. And I remember him passing by and just white. And like when we would take cover, we'd shout like, yeah, dude, hold your breath, you know? We'd have to go underwater to get him to safety. And yeah, he, you know, was out of it, lost a lot of blood. And we get to the end of the ravine, and I remember popping out the other side and going into the safe house, and dude, it felt like World War III opened up, and I go down. Pemberton looks back at me. He's like, thought I was hit. He comes and grabs me and starts pulling me. I'm looking up at him like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, I said, we're getting shot at. He's like, no, those are our guys. We had support by fire, machine guns up on top, and I was just so, you know, out of it a little bit. And we get into the safe haven, the little house we had taken over, and the first sergeant was in there, and he's like, hey, you guys get up on top. And we were the first ones to get up on top to provide cover as, you know, cop, and everybody else was coming out. And we were just told to engage everything that was a threat. And I remember looking out, and dudes were getting dropped off in like vans with the sliding doors taken off, and mopeds and bikes with like 4 guys, 3 guys on them, and RPGs and ammo and machine guns piling out into the city. Pretty far away, and couldn't engage them, too far away, and tried some shots too far away, and just picked off everything else that I could pick off. And yeah, and we called for reinforcements, the Marines, to come in, and they couldn't do it. They had to have more people, like I said, a brigade, and we were told that the best they could do was park their vehicles like a mile away, and we had to run to them. That was like not really an option at the moment. We were going to stay and fight. So we had the guys who, from my platoon, put speedballs together, ready to go, ammo and stuff like that. They were gonna fly the helicopters in low, drop off the speedballs, and we were gonna get it out and fight all night. Watched the medevac come in and provided cover for them. It was an old school like medevac with the big cross on the side. And watching the guys carry out the wounded and covering them, and stayed to fight. Had 210 bullets and had 6 when it was over, left. Did a lot of shooting, and yeah, we had to, that was the initial call, was to remain overnight. Luckily, that wasn't the case. And as we were running low on ammo, I'll never forget the call. My first sergeant was like, if you got a bayonet, if you got a knife, get ready. We're going hand to hand if, you know, these guys are going to overrun this compound. So in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to smoke a guy, get his AK, and fight with that. And if we go hand to hand, hey, Hodge is pretty small. We're good. So luckily, that did not happen. We did make the decision to run out. Everybody was like not timid. It was a rough day. Like hour 8, 9 at this point. We have to run out the wide open field, a mile to get to the Marines that finally made it. And I volunteered. It was like, I wanted to kill myself so much that day. It was like, after, like I saw the third guy was hit, debated standing up to get my head taken off, Just tired of it. Yeah. So I was like, I'll volunteer, and I'm not like crying too much, am I?
You're all good, man. I've never heard anything like this.
I'm sucking, bro. But so yeah, I volunteered to lead us out. I had like 6 bullets left. And I told Pemberton, I was like, you take up the rear for the assault team, make sure we're good, and I'll get the front. We're just gonna book it. I don't have time to shoot, So we just start running when they open up the big blue doors, the gates. I have a picture of it, before we ran out. I just booked it, man. See the Marines on top of a hill, and they didn't have enough vehicles for us or whatever, so yeah. We had to fit like 30 guys in 4 Humvees and on Humvees and piled in, and I had a big 500-pound Marine 50 cal gunner laying on my chest, and I'm laying across Pemberton's lap and another assaulter's lap. He's being stood on. It's cram-packed in there. Some guys are piled on, and we drive out. I asked for a cigarette, and this Marine was like, gave me one, and I go to flick it out the hatch, and it landed back in my... I always say that was like the worst part of that whole mission, was having that cigarette burn my back, and this other guy, an assaulter, pouring his canteen out on me, dousing me. I'm like, dude, it's just a cigarette. But we get back, and we got the target we were going after, captured him, and I remember doing the quick AAR when we got back, and I'm sitting next to a prisoner before we fly him out to where we have to fly him out to, and I'm sitting next to a prisoner, and I'm leaning up against my rucksack, and dude, I'm dozing off, and I do doze off, and I heard a clear as day, man, bullet snap past my head. So I wake up, I'm looking around, and I'm wondering, why is no one else freaking out? Everyone's just pretty calm and chill, waiting for the helicopters to come in. I'm like, damn, that was not even a gunshot. I'm still hearing bullet snap, And I knew I was like hurt after that. And then a few days later, a cop died. The first hospital he went to, power went out. So they had to take him to another hospital. Yeah. So that's the guy who saved my life.
Be sure to comment which story was your favorite. And please like and subscribe. It would really be appreciated.